Hello YouTube, Southern Wolverine here. Now we're just going to get right into this battle because I think I'm going to try something different. Bring you two battles in a single episode. Here my general takes off now, leading his band of Lusitani nobles as I use for the first time in multiplayer, the Lusitani. Out to my general's left I have 3 units of veteran shield warriors. We're also a very capable sword unit, and 2 Scutarii spearmen backing up my swords. Now, even the elite infantry, I will say, for the Lusitani, like these Lusitani nobles, let's take a look at them real quick. Yeah, look, their attack stats, pretty brutal. 64, 39 weapon damage isn't bad, charge bonus 32. They have good morale at 70, not amazing, but 55 health. Their armor, though, only 45. So even the best of the Lusitani units not terribly well armored. Out in front of them I have, well, they will be out in front of them. They're supposed to be out in front of them, but they're slacking. We have 4 units of Iberian slingers, whose main job is to get hit by arrows. Because as previously stated, I don't want these guys getting hit by arrows. See, these guys only armor 30. Lusitani nobles armor 45, which isn't bad, but for a unit that costs as much as they do, not very good. The Scutarii cavalry, armor 45, actually one of the better armored units in this whole faction. Pretty decent attack, bonus first infantry, pretty good overall morale, cavalry unit. You see, of course, I've got this ambush force out here. One of the reasons I wanted to try the Lusitani is they are, I believe at this time, the only faction that has infiltrating sword units and infiltrating spear units. So I have 2 Lusitani guerrillas with their spears and 3 guerrilla warriors with their swords. If I were to make this army again, I would probably forget these Lusitani guerrillas and just take 5 swords. Because you see, the tactic I use anyway is to attempt to use my cavalry to draw the Roman cavalry over to the other flank. So there are 2 firsts in this one. The one, of course, is me using the Lusitani. The second is that I am playing against my fiance. So this is Sarah's YouTube debut. Well, that's not entirely true. I did one Shogun 2 battle, that 1 versus 2 with her as well. But she didn't know I was going to put that on YouTube. This one she knew. Well, I made her a promise. In any case, she's got 4 units of Syrian archers who are just shredding my skirmishers at the moment. But my skirmishers' job is not to win. Their job is to distract them. She's got these 4 Eagle cohort, which means her army will have very strong morale as they encourage each other continually. And 3 units of Triarii, who are also going to be very tough to break. Very well armored. They'll hold over a long time, even against my best sword units. And you see, I've run out the spears as a screen for my Scutarii cavalry to attempt to tie these Praetorians down to prevent them from rushing all my sword units on this flank. And just as my swords were about to attack, she realized it as her troops spotted them. And as we were on the mic, I was cocky and, "Tell me when you see it," you know, using the vague pronoun, hoping that she would not see it, the flank attack coming. See, now this is where I wish these were swords and not spears. Sword units would be more effective coming around and flanking into these guys, and I am trying to use these spears for that purpose, but they're simply not as effective. Meanwhile, the frontal attack is coming in, so here comes a significant flank attack on these couple of Eagle cohort over here from my Lusitani nobles. Very nasty unit. They should be able to do quite a bit of damage to these Eagle cohort, especially with them flanked and everything. And the other swords tried to get to these archers but couldn't get there, so they're instead going to strike these Eagle cohorts, who again, not as good of a melee attack as my veteran shield warriors, but significantly better armor. Also, my shield warriors are now getting shot in the back by arrows, so not a great situation for them to be in. My slingers are going to try to help turn that around, but they got pretty well thrashed, even in that fairly short skirmish engagement. So I'm going to attempt to bring my Scutarii cavalry over from the other side, smack into these guys, and try to knock them out of the fight. However, even these archers have better armor than most of my units, so they are not going down as fast as I would hope. Her general came up and was able to intercept one of my veteran shield warriors who's trying to flank around this Eagle cohort. I have started to break some of the Eagle cohort on this flank. That 1 unit's broken. My Lusitani guerrillas are going to follow them. That's a cheap unit. I'm not too upset about that. In retrospect, also, I had a couple spear units over here. Here's one still, the Scutarii Spearmen. They caught a charge from those Praetorian cavalry, and it pretty well thrashed them. In the future, I might try to find the cash I need in order to get the Lusitani Spearmen, I believe they're called, but the 800 talent unit instead of the like 400 something talent unit, because I think they'll just hold that much better. So my cavalry into these archers. See, these archers are still holding out. I was surprised at how long these auxiliary Syrians refused to die. Obviously losing this area. I might be taking her general down. Yeah, I'm actually beating the general, but these Eagle cohort are just thrashing these veteran shield warriors. So they're exposed, so I'm going to try to use my slingers to get them down, but my slingers are now having to run away from this Eagle cohort that was over helping out the cavalry. And this big fight now looks like it's going against me. These Lusitani nobles are really the only thing holding out here against 2 units of Triarii and a unit of Eagle cohort. So a lot of my Lusitani guerrillas have routed. 2 guerrilla warriors are routing and will regroup. But my veteran shield warriors are getting beat too. Yeah, that flank attack wasn't as effective as I hoped it would be. So yeah, in any case, I've got another unit of cavalry. Is this no, this is the same unit of cavalry. No, that's his general fighting my infantry. Getting all confused here. A lot of stuff going on in different places. My Scutarii cav is actually dying to these Syrian archers, so I'm going to bring another unit in to try to help them out. And I think this is also the morale of the Roman units is just better than the morale of my units. Except possibly this Lusitani noble with 73 morale now with the 2 chevrons they've earned by killing Romans. And his troops, or her troops rather, are simply not. They're simply not breaking. Now look at this mess. This just carpet of fallen soldiers. But now these Triarii and Eagle cohort are about to get rear charged by these guerrilla warriors coming back from routing. Of course, my Lusitani nobles are getting archer fire in the back, so it's hard to say who comes out ahead at the moment. And this beat-up Eagle cohort's also coming in to help. Yeah, this is just a brawl. My general's threatening to rout here, so it's time to pop a rally, and that steadies things. So as these Triarii are beginning to waver, and these archers are finally routing, there's this one Eagle cohort out here trying to chase down all my skirmishers, and they're just going to be getting hit by rocks from every direction. Because they really have no hope of catching these guys, and really should have been pulled back into the main fight. So they really can't do much good out here. But in any case, this is actually looking winnable for me now, where about halfway through I thought sure I was done. I still have 1 unit of cavalry left, although there's a spear unit here that's almost untouched, and an Eagle cohort with about half strength. But then my Scutarii cav went and shattered due to losses, army losses. I guess all the morale penalties simply just piled up on them. Which is weird, because they didn't break and run until all the Roman units in the vicinity were dead or fleeing. So I'm not sure what happened there. That was an odd kind of moment. So my 3 sword units combine at this point for fewer men than this Triarii unit. But they are exhausted, as are my men. So this is the showdown, the last of the melee troops, as these Eagle cohort are being whittled down by my skirmishers. So these guys are not going to be able to get back in time to help decide this battle. You see, they're dropping slowly, but they are dropping to missile fire. They really can't. I love how they're holding their shields up in front of them, even though they're getting attacked from behind. These guys are just not the brightest, I guess. So there they go, that's it for them. They're routed. So it's just this 1 unit of Triarii. Now, their general is dead for the Roman army. But Triarii are disciplined, so they actually don't care about things like that. So here I've got 3 units, even though I have fewer men, I believe, in this fight. I'm trying to get a flank on, and I'll get a nice counterattack here. I'll pop their skills, Frenzy and Headhunt, and try to boost their melee. Look, their melee attack now, 81. 80s, that's even better. They kill people or something. I'm not sure where. That must be Headhunt doing that for you. And 41 weapon damage, plus their 10 bonus for infantry. These guys are just ridiculous attack right now. Of course, now those abilities have run out, and they're gonna start tiring pretty quickly. Sorry, correct English. Oh, and there's a beam of hope as these try begin to waver. Oh, but so are my units wavering. Who's gonna break first? Oh, the guerrilla warriors broke. And now my skirmishers are trying to help out. But shooting into this fight against these heavily armored guys and my lightly armored guys, I might be doing as much damage to myself. But I have kind of an opening here where I can hit them without hitting my own guys. Of course, now the other unit of guerrilla warriors is routed. Pansies. And my Lusitani nobles are outnumbered 2 to 1. And these slingers are not making enough of a difference. So my Lusitani nobles are going to go ahead and rout. And that's a problem for me because her last unit has disciplined my 2 slingers. The cheapest units in my army are not disciplined. So they're just going to play keep away. I'll go ahead and fast forward this a bit as she tries to chase my skirmishers down. I split them up and hope they don't break. I'm just trying to outlast the general morale penalty here. We're losing him. So we're going to shoot them in the back as they move, chasing me down. See, she used rapid advance, which was a decent idea. But even with that, these heavy troops are not going to be able to catch my slingers. So she's pretty much got to wait until I'm out of ammunition. So she's putting them into the defensive testudo. Now, however, you see these Iberian slingers have their swords out. That means they are out of ammo. So I'm just down to this one with ammunitionless. Because if this comes down to melee, I am in serious trouble. So I'm working on him. She turns them around the right way, which helps. Even when they were facing the wrong way, I wasn't doing enough damage. So here it comes. Desperation attack time. 64 Triarii versus a little over 100 skirmishers. And I don't think it takes a lot to guess what's going to happen here. Oh, the skirmishers just dropping like flies. And that's all she wrote for that one. Damn it! Lusitani. Darn it, new faction, I don't understand. And like I said, in retrospect, the cavalry did pretty good. The Lusitani noble went freaking ape crazy on everybody. So in retrospect, maybe a few less units. Forget these Lusitani guerrillas. A couple guerrilla warriors, and then just use my cavalry to draw enemy cavalry off. So that the reason those spears were in my ambush force was so that they wouldn't have to worry about enemy cavalry charging them. But if you use tactics, you can draw enemy cavalry off and avoid that situation in other ways. So that's what I would do next time. That way that flank attack would have been, 4 or 5 sword units instead of 3 swords and 2 spears. And I think that would have worked out a lot better. Also, those mid-level spears I used, those low-level spears rather, were simply not up to the task of holding off all those Praetorian cavalry. Alright, so here's a new army, Macedonians, with a big pike line there. My cavalry in the trees, the 2 units of Apsis Cav. I'm trying to find my general in here so we can start this in the proper way. I think that's him right there with the shorter spear. So he's commanding a unit of companion cav. He's got his 2 Aspis companion cav that you've already seen. This army is heavy on pikes. I got 4 pike units, thorax pike, regular pikes, and 2 foot companions. Sarah hates fighting against pikes, and I wanted payback for that previous battle. But pikes are backed up just by 2 units of these thorax swords. Or a respectable mid-level sword unit, of course. And I have 4 units of mercenary Rhodian slingers in an attempt to force her out to fight my pikes. Now, although this map looks flat, there's this little kind of a rise, just very, very subtle, that prevented us from seeing each other's armies as we deployed. So you see all my infantry is actually still hidden, and just my cavalry and slingers have spotted her army. So let's run over here real quick, go over what she's got. She's got 4 units of mercenary Cretan archers as her skirmishers, who unfortunately for me have the 150 range, so they match my Rhodians. And her front line is actually kind of an odd choice, but it's to let you judge how effective it ends up being. With 3 units of Sacred Band hoplites. Ooh, excuse me, 3 units of Sacred Band hoplites. Not Sacred Burp hoplites. Yeah, so these guys, very tough unit, but very expensive. 95 armor, 70 morale, 59 melee defense. So that's actually not a bad holding force, it's just expensive. And then the infantry line is 4 units of these Libyan infantry, who are a nice solid mid-range sword unit as well. Very much a match for the thorax swords that I have. Her cavalry is her general's unit of noble cavalry, and 3 units of these mercenary Iberian cavalry, who are new to Carthage in multiplayer. These guys, they say they're medium cavalry. I think even for medium cavalry they're light, because very much like the Lusitani battle that we just watched, these guys, look at their armor, 15. Not much to get super excited about in terms of their protection. Alright, so let's fast forward this somewhat. As we now get a look at each other's armors, we're just kind of squaring off and setting up for a skirmish fight. And she's going to move all her cavalry over to this flank to counter my heavy cavalry flank. Or my cavalry heavy flank, as you prefer. And back to real time as the skirmishing begins. You see I'm pulling 1 unit of Aspis companions around behind me. Since I see all the Hurcav drawn up over here, my plan is to bring these guys around and hope to get a strike in against these mercenary Cretans. Try to drive them off, damage them if I can. Anything to help me win this skirmish fight. So as her cavalry's not responding, she's paying attention to the skirmishers or something. My cavalry very nearly gets a hold of these 2 units of Cretans, and they would very quickly have done a lot of damage to them. So they're skirmishing back automatically, and she throws the Sacred Band forward in an attempt to hold me off, and it works. I do not want my cav, even my melee cav, fighting against the Sacred Band and their scary purple shirts. These guys with their 20-point bonus first large gives them attack 62 against cavalry. Yeah, don't want to do that unless I'm hitting him in the rear or the flank or something like that. I very much want to engage these guys with my pikes and be done with it. So my attempt to bring these Aspis companions to hit the Cretans in from the other direction doesn't work out, and I have to pull them out. These Sacred Band are still in position to screen him, and a couple of these Libyan infantry come out to push me off as well. Now, if these guys over-pursue, I'll get a chance to strike them with my Aspis companions, because one-on-one, I'm pretty sure these companion cavalry would defeat a unit of Libyan infantry. So now I lost my opportunity for a infantry attack, so I'm going to pull them back, continue skirmishing, but I've decided to send these cavalry in and just see what I can make of these Iberians. And watch this unit. I am making mincemeat of this unit is what I'm doing. Look at that. On the charge. 60 units, 60 men lost, almost 70. Those companion cav just wrecked those Iberian cav on the charge. They're just going to turn and run into this unit. I did not even use their charge boost ability, whatever the hell it's called, trample, I think. Just decimated them to basically no loss. I did not expect it to be that effective. These mercenary Iberians simply are not armored to take a charge like that, and they're not going to be able to hold up long to these companions and Iberian or an Aspis companions. Just getting trashed. So see, that was it. That was the whole cavalry fight on that side. And my Aspis were trying to get a flank attack. She was continually denying it. I would have taken a charge on the general even. But I didn't get the opportunity. Her swords were driving me off, and I'm not ready for that fight. So I pulled them out and around. But here come my pikes. The foot companions versus Sacred Band. Two of the game's elites going at it. And now these guys, look at, they're not even taking any damage, these Sacred Band. They finally lost a guy. They're tough. You see, my units have kind of come in here at this funky angle and not gotten a good strike on. So I'm going to try to reorganize them. See that unit maneuvering. My cavalry's trying to hit her flanks as my pikes get around the flank here. And these Libyan infantry are losing pretty bad, and that's mostly the effect of these Aspis companions and their melee attack. So I did get this unit squared up, so they're getting a lot of good attacks in now. I'm starting to wear those Sacred Band down. Of course, some of them are kind of wrapping around me on the side, and that's where most of my losses are coming from. However, in the shuffle, this unit ended up pretty much shield to shield with these Sacred Band. So that was a mistake. I didn't realize that during the fight. I should have pulled them back or something and tried to get reset. Meanwhile, the skirmishers are still shooting over the top of the melee fight at each other. But because of that, my foot companions are not getting the best of this unit of Sacred Band right now. So the thorax swords are going to come in to help out since I got a flank on these guys. And that should start to help turn that fight my way. This unit of pikes did get squared up nicely, so they're going to start wearing the Sacred Band down with the help of this unit that got moved over to the flank. Now, as a pike unit, they're not going to push in great, but you see they are killing Sacred Band, and they have not lost anybody in this melee fight. Their losses have been from missile fire. And the cavalry are running good interference on the flanks. You say this unit's over 200 kills, this one's 185, and this one's 70. And these units are still very strong, so they're pretty much just trying to keep all these sword units busy with charges and counter charges. And these Aspid companions will fare pretty well against those. They got a 15-point bonus versus infantry. So look, they got a 71 attack, 73 attack, because their veterancy just went up. And that's, what, 88 against infantry, thanks to their attack bonus. And the Cretan archers are starting to run out of ammunition, which is where they suffer against the slingers. And all these swords, if they were able to join that pike versus Sacred Band fight, would have been a problem, because they would easily flank me from here, which is why I'm kind of desperately... I charged this cav in so I could pull these ones back out and charge them right back in. I'm trying to keep all these swords busy and hopefully rout even a few of them. Unfortunately, my cheap pike unit does actually break, because they were caught sort of on the flank by this other unit of hoplites that's fighting my thorax swords. But now my thorax swords are still holding, or my thorax pikes rather, are still holding against these Sacred Band. And I'm trying to bring cavalry in to get these Cretan archers off their flank. Her cavalry tried to work around my flank, ended up into these thorax swords, but I've got this foot companion turned around. This is the one that destroyed the unit of Sacred Band they were fighting. And they're going to try to push into this fight and help drive off her general. And my slingers are also shooting in there. So he's not going to last much longer. This Sacred Band, even trapped as it is from multiple sides, still holding out. This cav charge is going to try to break him. Still not even wavering. These guys are tough to break. Now they finally start to waver as that cavalry unit pulls out. So these Sacred Band units are proving to be far more annoying than I thought they would be. They simply will not die. They simply will not rout. That one over there died on my Macedonian foot companions. But this one has lasted quite a long time. This one's lasted quite a long time. But now they're finally starting to give up the fight. Just leaving these couple of sword units left. And this one unit of mercenary Cretans that I believe, is out of ammunition. You see they got their swords out. So these guys get an attack order and they're going to do whatever it is they can. They're going to come after my foot companions, which even with their pikes facing the wrong way is not going to be super effective. And these Aspis companions are going to come in and take care of those guys pretty readily. I'm just trying to get the pikes squared up and make sure these last two Libyan infantry don't get a good charge on me, don't get a good attack. After that last one with that Triarii unit holding me up and winning at the end, I'm taking nothing for granted here. And sure enough, they can't hold against the front of that foot companion unit, and they ended up breaking and making a run for it. So there you go, Sarah. I promised that if you beat me, I'd put it on YouTube. And you did. So there it is. But I had put up another one to make myself feel better so that I wasn't quite so embarrassed by that. In any case, the post-mortem of this, pretty much the summary's right there. Look at all the kills my cavalry had. They were running all over the place, wrecking things. This unit of foot companions actually kind of bombed. That was totally my fault. The other foot companions did quite well against the Sacred Band. And of course, these Iberian cavalry, the lesson for them is they do not stand up to enemy heavy cavalry. They simply don't. So, in any case, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please do like the video, comment, and subscribe. I am Southern Wolverine, and I wish all of you a good day.